Hello, my name is Bob McLeod, and I just wanted to discuss an experimental social media marketing uh, experiment we had ongoing, and it's basically going beyond friends and family. So our idea was to monitor a smartphone mosquito tracker app, and it was called M-Tracker. And the reason we wanted to do that is because being able to predict or manipulate media to spread a meme is of extreme interest to anyone interested in the emergent phenomena of something going viral. This brief presentation overviews our attempt to understand the spread of a meme through the word of mouth, social media posts, social media advertising, as well as fortuitously through newsvertising. So the application developed was a smartphone app for Android and iPhone devices that would allow a user to report local mosquito nuisance conditions. There's no really any social or emotional capital associated with this type of app, other than for the participant to share the pain of others that are within the same proximity. The smartphone app is called the M-Tracker on both the Android and iPhone app stores. Here's a picture of the user interface. It's a very simple user interface, very clean. It lets the person report mosquito nuisance, logging their location and timestamp. So this data would be backhauled to a database that collects that information and displays aggregate data on a map overlaid with reports of others. So it's a very simple user interface. Here's a simple little iPhone icon, a cute little mosquito there. Not that mosquitoes are too cute, but certainly the icon is. So the market research opportunity basically extends the work of Randon Rust, who in 2011 presented a small paper on an attempt to model product adoption through agent interactions, which were word of mouth and or mass media, as well as providing a means of validating these types of models. And it's primarily through this type of modeling that they were able to come up with the S-type adoption curve, which is common for marketing a product. So the work here extends these ideas to include word of mouth, electronic social media interactions, and mass media regarding the adoption of the M-Tracker, or effectively the downloading of the M-Tracker. The validation is through the adoption curves, which are sigmoid shaped, so they're S-shaped but backwards. In our model or experiment, word of mouth was precisely word of mouth, and that would be of myself, so I mentioned it to a few friends, and they may or may not have downloaded the application. The electronic social media took several forms. It was basically a weekly email to friends and family for a period of about 4 weeks, and that would have been under 400 emails. Weekly Facebook posts by myself, approximately 95 friends. The demographic there would be 50 plus or so not a very good demographic for something going viral, I'm sure. Targeted Facebook ad campaign, which allows you to be fairly specific in who you want to try to target your advertisement to. And some mass media was through a fortuitous press release, which precipitated a number of local radio and television spots. So the marketing began early June, as this is the time of year when mosquitoes become most noticeable, certainly in the Winnipeg area, and typically ahead of city spraying or larvicide or other types of efforts to control mosquitoes. So some of the results of our marketing of the M-Tracker: as of July 15, just over 4,000 downloads had been reported, and definitely followed the stylized adoption curve associated with sort of standard product adoption. And 4,000 we consider to be a pretty reasonable number, certainly well beyond friends and family. Although anecdotal, it's safe to conjecture that the M-Tracker was very likely exhausting downloads from friends and family prior to the news advertising. From this point, it was also clear that the increase in downloads and reports was highly correlated to news coverage and mass media, and certainly correlated for sure, and lots of evidence for causality. So here's an image of the iPhone downloads. You can sort of see this was the stasis period at friends and family, where I was sending out emails and posts on Facebook, and as well as Facebook advertising. And this period of time we had the news advertising, the press release, and approximately 16 interviews were given by one of the developers, Rory Jacob, and one was given by myself. And then following that, again, a period of stasis, or fairly slow and you could say steady increase, but certainly very slow. Here's the Android downloads. It was represented about a third of the overall downloads. And again, you can see the period of the news advertising when the downloads accelerated again. And this just breaks it down to the different versions of Android which were downloaded. Here's the Facebook campaign. It was a very simple campaign, but very targeted. It sort of showed what the interface looked like and was able to target down to people who lived in Manitoba with Android, people who lived in Manitoba with iPhone. The iPhone was a little bit more expensive to get going, sort of had to, really couldn't get anything to display unless the click-through rate was approximately 75 cents for a click. Other than that, we had a budget of $15 a day. So basically you were getting a click-through rate of these of about 20 a day. And this is when the campaign ended. And the total budget spent was $330 or so. Here's some screenshots before and after the press release. So before the press release, there's certainly the friends and family mode and a few people using it. And certainly after the press release, this is Winnipeg. And sort of if you zoomed in, you could sort of see your neighborhood in a little bit more detail. The alternative data collection technique, which wouldn't be based on crowdsourcing, which the M-Tracker is, would be to basically have traps and then have someone be able to go to these traps, count how many female mosquitoes are collected each day, and so each particular day you'd get maybe an average of 7, and in Winnipeg there's 24 traps. So this would sort of represent what the profile looked like of trap counts for Winnipeg during June and July. So some of the lessons learned, although they're somewhat anecdotal, in our case a fair degree of serendipity was required to coerce the M-Tracker adoption beyond friends and family. And probably if you want your meme or idea or product to go viral, social media alone probably can't beat news advertising. And ideally you'd probably want mass media and social media interacting. The M-Tracker can be downloaded from iTunes and Google Play. There's the locations, or you can certainly just search for the M-Tracker. The developers here need to be acknowledged: Rory Jacob and Chen Liu. Rory for the iPhone, Chen for the Android. And thanks to everyone who downloaded the M-Tracker. And here's the reference that we used in referring to some of the related work, which is from an agent-based modeling perspective, to sort of try to get an understanding of how an agent-based model might play a role in modeling the marketing of a product. Thank you.